Hey guys, OGalbina here, and man, aren't Mega Pokemon cool. It is by far my favorite mechanic in the series, and they gave many mediocre to just downright bad Pokemon a huge and much needed buff. And some Pokemon that honestly didn't need one. Unfortunately, not every Mega Pokemon is made equal, and some of them are pretty bad or just downright unusable. For a Mega to thrive, it has to be so good that 1, it's worth the lack of an item that the Mega will have, and 2, it's worth the 1 Mega slot on your team, as you can only use 1 per battle. Today, I will be attempting to fix the worst of the worst Mega Pokemon, so that they can theoretically compete at a high level. Before we jump into the video, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. I'd really appreciate it. We're on our way to 2,000 subscribers, and I'd really appreciate it if you help me out along that goal. And also consider becoming a channel member right down there next to the sub button. We have a lot of really cool perks and rewards, one of which me helping you build a draft league team once per month, and a bunch of cool other ones as well. Early access to videos, all that stuff. So definitely help me out if you feel willing to and are able to. I'd really appreciate it. Alrighty, let's do this. First up, we're going to look at a Pokemon that looks amazing on paper, but it's just incredibly lacking when put into practice. That is Mega Absol. With a 150 base attack stat, you would think stab knockoffs and sucker punches would be instant KOs, on top of great coverage and a good special attack stat of 115. It's just that Mega Absol always seems to fall just short of grabbing the one-hit KOs it needs. This wouldn't be too big of an issue if Mega Absol also didn't have the defense of a wet piece of paper. The combination of its lack of OHKO power and its fragility lead to Absol being an incredibly mediocre Mega. Now, I won't be buffing Absol stats or any of these other Megas, because Mega Evolutions already have stats that are pretty darn buffed. Instead, I'll be tweaking their typings, abilities, and move pools. For Absol, we'll start off with its typing. Pure Dark is solid on its own, but I'm going to give Absol an additional Fairy typing. It looks like it fits thematically, and if Ampharos can be a dragon, Absol can be a fairy. This would give Absol a solid stab on its play rough, as well as some nice resistances and a nice immunity to dragon to find more switching opportunities. The Dark Fairy stab is also incredibly solid offensively, especially when you factor in Absol's ability to learn close combat. The combination of Dark, Fairy, and fighting coverage is only resisted by a single Pokemon in Galarian Weezing. It hits 519 Pokemon neutrally and a whopping 555 Pokemon super effectively, which is absolutely insane. Now, the stat boost isn't enough. We need to find a way to capitalize on this insane type coverage. That's why I proposed an ability change from Magic Bounce to Adaptability. Magic Bounce is a great ability, don't get me wrong, but it's not very good on an offensive, frail Pokemon like Absol. It's very hard to threaten bouncing back hazards when a stray Earthquake or Stone Edge from the rocker can blow it sideways. Adaptability would give Absol much more OHKO power with its stabs plus close combat and its other coverage. For example, Mega Absol currently fails to knock out even a non-Colbur Berry max HP Mew, but with an adaptability boost, it becomes an incredibly easy KO. Our playoff calcs are also going to see a huge upside here too. Even with stab, a non-adaptability player fails to OHKO a Pokemon like max HP Conkeldurr, but after adaptability boosting this, it becomes an absolute nuke. The addition of the added fairy typing and adaptability would make Absol a certified KO machine and finally worth that Mega slot. Next up, we have Mega Ampharos. I actually really enjoy Ampharos, but it seems to be lacking in 2 areas: its move pool and its ability. Mold Breaker is a great ability, but there aren't many interactions where Mold Breaker comes into play for Ampharos. Ampharos plays much more defensively than most Megas, despite its massive special attack stat. My first proposal will be changing Mold Breaker to the ability Fur Coat. This would allow the tried and true Rest Talk variant of Mega Ampharos to function even better, wowing most physical attackers with ease. It allows for some pretty ridiculous interactions to occur, such as not being 2-hit KO'd by Landorus Therian or Excadrill Earthquake without even a boosting nature in defense. Absolutely insane stuff. Next up, let's fix that move pool. The fact that Mega Ampharos doesn't get Tail Glow is an absolute crime. We're going to give it Tail Glow so that it can boost its special attack stat to some insane levels, which would be balanced out by its bad speed tier. We're also finally giving it Draco Meteor, so that it has a nuke that every strong Dragon Wall Breaker needs. Now, these buffs won't make Ampharos absolutely broken, but now it will really own its niche of being a solid tank Pokemon who deals damage alongside grabbing momentum and being tough to take down. Next up is a project and a half, Mega Banette. This is arguably the worst Mega to ever exist, so it's going to be tough making it viable without buffing its stats. First off, we're going to buff its move pool a little bit. We're going to give Mega Bane the fighting coverage it so desperately needs and deserves in Drain Punch. This allows us to not be absolutely stuffed by normals and more importantly dark types, which switch in forever on Banette due to their immunity to its prankster status shenanigans. We're also going to give it Poltergeist so that it has a very strong physical ghost stab, which can really smash through teams with its very strong base 165 attack stat. Lastly, I would love to see Banette get Bulk Up, as a great way of boosting its attack and defense with prankster priority too. Our next change is another typing change, where we take a page out of Radical Red's book and make Banette a ghost and normal type. This unique typing takes away a very annoying ghost weakness and adds no other additional weaknesses. Not only that, but its type coverage becomes insane. You thought Dark Fairy Fighting had great coverage? There's not a single Pokemon that was just normal, ghost, and fighting. The only Pokemon that theoretically switches in on these moves are either Mega Banettes of their own, or Hisuian Zoroark, being immune to all three of these typings. These aren't very bulky Pokemon though, and could be very well punished pretty easily, especially with access to Knockoff and Sucker Punch. These changes should take Mega Banette from a laughingstock to a bona fide demon. Next up we have Mega Audino, and despite its mediocrity, it's so close to being an absolutely amazing Pokemon. I actually only have 2 changes for it. I know that's lame, but honest to God, that's all it needs. First up, for the smaller change, we'll be giving Mega Audino access to Moonblast. Dazzling Gleam isn't bad per se, but Moonblast is just infinitely better and it really bugs me that it can't get the move, so we're giving it that. Next up is such a simple and boring change, but it just makes sense. Instead of giving it a new ability altogether, we're just letting it keep Regenerator from regular Audino. I've said it before, and I'll definitely say it again. Regen is by far the best ability in competitive singles Pokemon. So giving it to an insanely bulky Pokemon like Audino just makes it infinitely better. It can function much better as a pivot, Wish Passer, and Cleric. It would function phenomenally on fatter balance, and people wouldn't refuse to Mega until last minute when using it. I know it's a bit of a boring one, but let's check out a cooler one. Last up, we have Mega Abomasnow. This thing looks way too darn strong to be this bad. The only issue is, I really didn't know how to fix this guy in a way that makes any thematic sense without just raw buffing its stats, which are off the table here. It honestly has all the coverage it needs, and a type change just doesn't make any sense thematically. Try and tell me that the Christmas tree Pokemon can be anything but grass ice, I dare you. I went into my Discord server, which you should join by the way, link in the description, and asked for some help. Aquarius came up with an awesome idea. We're going to go to Obama's ability and give it an upgrade. We are going to make its hail from its snow warning stronger, making it into a solid 12% at the end of each turn instead of 6%. There's a similar ability in fan game Pokemon Insurgents called Sleet, so we'll just call it that. Though ours isn't quite as broken and strong as their version though. This buff is great on a Pokemon like Abomasnow. Strong Blizzards, Wood Hammers, Leaf Storms, Focus Blast, Earthquake, and Earth Powers all become way more potent to switch into when Hail is doing twice that of your leftovers recovery. Another thing to consider is that bulky Ice Resist and Steel types and some Fire types are typically pivots into Abomasnow, and these Pokemon don't have any reliable recovery in most instances. This will allow Abomasnow to pepper them for consistent damage, eventually putting them in 2-hit KO or OHKO range. This is especially true with Hazard support. Bam! Mega Abomasnow fixed. Alrighty guys, thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you guys thought of episode 3 of Fixing Your Favorites. I got a ton of suggestions on the last video. I thought it'd be cool to take a lot of the Pokemon that were suggested. They also happen to have some Mega forms, so I figured it'd be fun to do a Mega version of this. Again, go ahead and comment on this video, the Pokemon you want to see. Even if you commented on the last video and I still haven't do it, comment it again. I need to see these comments. If you want me to do your favorite Pokemon, let me know what you guys want to see next. Go check out the other 2 videos as well. I love doing this series. It's been a lot of fun. It's probably been my favorite thing I've done on YouTube in a while, and I know you guys are enjoying it because there's been great support on it. So thank you guys so much. Drop a like if you enjoyed, sub if you're new, all that fun stuff. I will see you guys in the next video. Later.